Hey everyone, my name is Callum. In this episode, let's experience the wonders of India's western Ghats. This tropical mountain landscape provides a fantastic palette to create two habitat builds for the endangered lion-tailed macaque and the magnificent great Indian hornbill. See the vibrant colours, lush greenery and majestic creatures of this unique Indian ecosystem come to life as the next exciting addition to the Coldwater Falls Zoo. The Coldwater Falls Zoo starts a new, hopefully intriguing phase, the addition of an Indian-themed zone called Untamed India. This focuses on the iconic and especially endangered wildlife of India throughout its unique landscapes, from the western tropical mountains to the northern marsh grasslands. We start on India's west coast, where 1,000 miles or 1,600 kilometres of tropical mountains house an impressive wealth of animals. It may only cover less than 6% of the land area in India, but surprisingly the Western Ghats contains more than 30% of all species of plant, fish, reptile, amphibian, bird and mammal in the whole country. For example, around 30% of all Asian elephants are found here, along with around 18% of wild tigers, spread through a number of wildlife sanctuaries, tiger reserves and national parks. Conservation is absolutely critical in such a region as India's economy grows with increasing urbanisation pressuring these wildlife hotspots. Of dire need for conservation are endemic species found only in the Western Ghats. One such example is the lion-tailed macaque, an endangered monkey who needs large tracts of continual rainforest for their survival. Urbanisation leads to habitat fragmentation, which puts extreme stress on the macaque, which struggles to adapt to a changing environment. Just like the lion-tailed macaque, the great hornbill is also highly vulnerable to deforestation and other invasive practices. While the hornbill isn't as threatened as the macaque, development of palm oil plantations seriously threatens this bird species, who needs large areas of undisturbed forest to thrive. Both of these key species of India's tropical forests are excellent representatives of the overall diversity and conservation goals of any modern Indian-themed build. A new zoo area means an exciting entrance for an Indian-themed build, and there is no better way than representing India's rich cultural identity through a traditional temple entrance. The Western Ghats are not only a region of high biodiversity and ecological importance, but also a significant cultural landscape known for its temples and sacred sites. Whether in forests or the mountains, these temples are key to the cultural and spiritual identity of the region, tied to local traditions, beliefs, and conservation practices. At the Coldwater Falls Zoo, I've taken inspiration from these cultural monuments, specifically from the group of monuments at Hampi. Hampi is a UNESCO World Heritage Site at Karnataka, India. These ruins are described as the surviving remains of the last great Hindu kingdom in South India. The kingdom mentioned is the Vijayanagara Empire, which lasted from the 14th to 17th century, where Hampi was a fortified capital city of the empire for over 200 years. At Hampi, most of the monuments are Hindu, where the temples feature artwork depicting Hindu deities and the themes from Hindu texts. In Planet Zoo, depicting a rich cultural monument is quite the challenge. The most suitable theme is the India theme, which is infamous for its locked colour palette. However, the sandstone-like colour is honestly pretty much perfect for depicting a traditional Indian temple. Most of the large sandstone pieces, like the temple, arches and animal carvings, highlight similar features like the real temples, while adding a uniquely planned zoo design, which of course is animal oriented. Paired with the sandstone coloured temple is a large bright sign for Untamed India. Such an entrance sign needs to stand out, so a white and orange text is placed on a dark blue background. While this seems quite like a burst of colour on a sandstone coloured wall, it was specifically designed like that. Various traditional temples and even modern Indian artwork feature bright and vibrant colours, which is actually tied to the spiritual beliefs as well. The use of colour is deeply symbolic, where the origin of colours lies in the legends and powers of Hindu gods. While the architecture of the Western Ghats and surrounding regions is indeed fascinating, we can't forget the nature of the region is the key site of the mountain range. The Western Ghats is a complex and highly diverse biome with a range of tropical forests and montane grasslands, but for this build we will focus on the tropical forests. Lush tropical forests, characterised by the Indian monsoon, which can really be called a rainforest, are home to a unique blend of foliage, especially in the northwest and southwest Ghats. Evergreen montane trees, along with more subtropical trees, thick tropical grasses, and a huge range of tropical plants like orchids dot the landscape of this tropical forest. I am using typical tropical foliage to imagine what this could be like. Ponytail palm used for thick grass tufts, large palm-like plants represented by the small Macaque palm, and the use of a variety of ferns build up a lush tropical landscape. Daffodils, Chinese lantern, yellow rods, and various other smaller plants complement the otherwise large greenery for a tropical contrast. Trees in the Indian area are mostly going to be tropical Asian trees, represented by strangler fig tree and the tamarind tree. While this zoo is still really a temperate zoo, various temperate trees and bushes will complement the tropical Asian foliage to keep realism in check. Further enhancing the Indian temple entrance is a colourful flag bunting, which will be custom built using the Macaque Fiesta fabric panel. I really don't like the bunting materials provided in the game, so making my own is pretty much necessary. Several fabric panels are layered together to create this vibrant sunset-like pattern, which works really nicely with an Indian theme. The sunset pattern is simply a gradient design which transitions from a green landscape to a deep orange sunset sky. The built fabric will be draped over a long rope line connected to the overall temple entrance on both sides. The bunting will be visible through the upper portion of the arch, high enough so it doesn't interfere with guests down below. Each of the fabric bunting will be positioned in line with the rope, gradually angled upwards as it follows a natural curve. Maybe a tiny bit fiddly as the rope curves up, connecting each bunting. With Untamed India's temple entrance complete, let's move on to the lion-tailed macaques. Not the habitat build just yet, the preparation for the path viewing is first. Inspired by the entrance of Silver Valley National Park, a stronghold for the lion-tailed macaque, I thought of a safari-like entrance for the macaque viewing area. This includes key features of the Silver Valley National Park Road with its brick wall features and a lion-tailed macaque signage, along with a safari jeep on a dirt track. The angled brick wall is the focal point for this section, which is highly visible from the entrance of Untamed India. The safari jeep, slightly angled into the ground, is placed to the left of the brick wall, and to the right is the lion-tailed macaque signage. The signage is a custom media sign warning drivers to drive slow, as this is a lion-tailed macaque crossing. The sign is written in both English and Tamil script for both of the main languages spoken in southern India. Very similar foliage from the entrance is used to complete this area to have a lush foliage separation from the main path. Most notably, the South America fallen log offers a nice rainforest feature behind the entrance display. The highlight of this area is of course the lion-tailed macaque, recently added with the Asia DLC, which is of fantastic quality. These macaques are native to India, precisely endemic to the western Ghats in southern India. Also known as the wanderoo, the lion-tailed macaque is a rainforest inhabitant, often found in the upper canopy of tropical evergreen forests or monsoon forests. Despite their striking appearance, these macaques are not named for their silver mane, which resembles a male's lion mane. In fact, it is their tail, funnily enough. Their tail ends in pointy tufts of hair, similar to that of a lion's. This is present in both genders, however the lion tail is more prominent in male lion-tailed macaques. Known as selective eaters in an environment where food is rather limited, macaques have a handy feature to help them with efficient foraging. Like all other macaques, lion-tailed macaques have cheek pouches, which can store the same amount of food as their stomach. This is extremely useful for carrying extra food while maximising the use of daily foraging for food. Their main staple is fruit, mostly from trees in the fig family. They also eat a variety of other foods if fig fruit is scarce. Seeds, flowers, insects, bird eggs, frogs and lizards also make up their diet. However, some macaques are turned into coffee plants or non-native flowering plants. This is due to decrease in habitat from human encroachment, wildfires, land conversion to farmland, and various other human activities. The consumption of plants like coffee leads to macaques drastically changing their diet and spending a lot of time on the ground than in the trees. This complicates their endangered status even more, as macaques are on the ground more, leading to potential road accidents when crossing the roads in the western Ghats. We can link this back to the entrance theme I built with the lion-tailed macaque crossing sign, a recreation of one of the signs seen by the road in national parks. These roads are symbols of the macaque's greatest threat, habitat fragmentation. Some conservation programs have managed to help the macaques though. Organisations like Nature Conservation Foundation have led the construction of canopy bridges to help the issue of habitat fragmentation. These bridges are either rope or wooden canopy bridges which cross potentially dangerous areas like roads, helping the macaques traverse their habitat without the risk of vehicle or other human-related incidents. So building the macaque habitat follows an open-air primate habitat, with key features such as large rock wall barriers and a moat to provide the most immersive views into the tropical rainforest-inspired habitat. This actually wasn't the initial plan or build. I did plan for a more dense forest encased in an aviary for a realistic build, but after taking a few pictures I went, is that really all I can do? So I deleted it all and came up with this idea for a pretty amazing view into untamed India. I really don't want a mediocre build being the first site of the new Coldwater Falls Zoo area. While not exactly native to Asia, the hook-thorn acacia tree is used as the key foliage showpiece in the macaque habitat. It's a nice large tropical-looking tree and the macaques can climb up it, both of the criteria for such a habitat. With 3 of these large acacia trees, all of them are linked with liana vines to allow plenty of climbing routes for the macaques. Getting the macaques to remain in the trees and climbing frames is absolutely critical this episode. Placing the vines is easy enough. Placing the vines inside each of the main climbing branches of the tree and linking it to another tree. It also helps if the tree is also placed at the correct length of the vine, so like 8 or 12 meters away, just ensuring the vine doesn't actually touch the ground. Along with the vines, wooden painted poles are also used for a more realistic zoo climbing frame. Vines are fine, but zoos also ensure the animal has plenty of climbing opportunities through the use of an artificial climbing frame. I'm taking inspiration from the Howlett's Wild Animal Park in the UK for lion-tailed macaque-inspired climbing frames. This includes a complex wooden frame with some impressive structures allowing the macaques to climb high. I'm taking one of those structures to place in the right corner of the habitat, which is honestly pretty bare at the moment. The structure is an offset triangular frame with sloped wooden poles, allowing for some dynamic choice of travel routes in this part of the habitat. Connecting it to other climbing poles is pretty essential for connected access, and also have several layers on this frame, allowing the macaques to choose freely, but also adds to the realism for the overall frame structure. Some oceanic nets are also placed on the second floor of this climbing frame for the macaques to sit on or traverse across to the other side of the frame. Climbing all done, let's get into the foliage. With a large space of sloped terrain, the first step is breaking up the terrain with plenty of faux rocks. The faux rocks are coloured to the same as the rock wall, and placed in various locations to hide any terrain issues and overall add to the landscape, such as small rock piles added near the water moat like a river. Embracing the tropical foliage, larger plants like the tree ferns and large bird ferns are used particularly on the sides of the habitat. A scattering of buffalo grass, like always, is absolutely essential to creating lovely ground cover. Not necessarily realistic, but like everyone else, a layer of buffalo grass makes habitats look so good. It's important, however, to leave gaps in the grass to highlight potential pacing trails that the macaques leave, especially when creating a tropical forest habitat which is not necessarily covered in grass. After a healthy covering of buffalo grass and even some drin grass, scaevola bushes and tropical leaf litter highlight various areas around the habitat. New for me pretty much, tetrastigma vines enhance the tropical environment, recreating a sense of a growing forest. These are not excessively placed, but just enough to add some character to thicker foliage areas around the habitat. My favourite foliage though for tropical builds is the ponytail palm, which is perfect for making thicker tropical grasses and breaking up any repetition on rock wall barriers. With the highlight of this episode all complete, let's move on to the secondary habitat. Along with the lion-tailed macaques is the Great Indian Hornbill, or more commonly shortened to just the Great Hornbill. I am using one of my pre-built aviaries this episode, specifically the modern Australian aviary. See that mesh tutorial wasn't just a tutorial but a shortcut for future builds. Making aviaries is dreadful, so just placing down a blueprint makes building for birds so much more appealing. As the Great Hornbill is indeed a flying bird mod, Leaf's fantastic blueprints for flying enrichment is the focus point of the aviary. Several hornbills can use these to give guests a great view of these magnificent birds in flight. The foliage and general aviary interior follows a very similar approach to what we saw in the lion-tailed macaque habitat. So let's learn a bit about this interesting bird. Hornbills are large birds instantly recognised by a long curved beak and a bony structure called a casque on top of its head. The Great Hornbill has a wide distribution in South and Southeast Asia, found in India's western Ghats and forests on the slopes of the Himalayas. Most of the population, in fact, resides in India. Great Hornbills are social birds, living in groups of 2 to 40 individuals. Usually they are seen in smaller parties, especially around fruit trees. They mainly forage along branches, moving along by hopping, and feeding on fruits, looking for insects, nestling birds, or lizards. Not just for show, the hornbill catches prey, tosses it up in the air, and swallows whole. Great hornbills are also very loud and vocal birds. Communication is done via deep hoarse grunts, roars, and barks. While not endangered like the lion-tailed macaw, great hornbills are greatly threatened by habitat loss and poaching. Great hornbills thrive on undisturbed forest for foraging and nesting. Deforestation makes them highly vulnerable, especially by the removal of old-growth trees that are required for nesting. This is why the majority of the population is found in India, as Southeast Asia is a difficult environment for them to thrive in. Hunting especially threatens the great hornbill, but most often hunters mistake the great hornbill for the critically endangered helmeted hornbill. The helmeted hornbill is highly sought after for their body parts, particularly the casque, which is made of ivory. Like poaching of rhinos, the ivory casque is extremely valuable and a focus for conservation programs. Just above the Inca Trail, we start our tour of this episode build, seeing the huge condor aviary just behind us. Untamed India is hard to miss. Its elaborate temple entrance greets guests to this exciting new zoo area. Iconic Indian animal statues and a wealth of India-themed carvings are spread across this entrance. Entering Untamed India, we can see the Western Ghats tropical theming with two habitats clearly on both sides of the habitat. Let's check out the habitat on the left, which is a spacious modern aviary for the great Indian hornbill, possibly the most iconic bird of the Western Ghats. A small wooden shelter provides us with two small window views into the aviary, and right ahead a great hornbill greets us perched on a branch. There are in total 4 hornbills living in this aviary. They can be found on these perching enrichments, flying around the central aviary, or perhaps sleeping away near the tree at the back. Each animal at Untamed India will feature these easy-to-read education signs telling us about each feature of the animal and some fun facts. In the other viewing window, we get a better view into the aviary. We can see some of the other hornbills interacting with possibly food, otherwise flying around, checking out this area of the aviary. Leaving the aviary, we turn around to see the highlight of this area, the endangered lion-tailed macaque. Coming across this safari jeep entrance, we better go slow. This is a lion-tailed macaque crossing. Modern signage is also pretty handy for learning all about the wilds of India. Each area will feature one of these region signs. This one is all about the tropical mountains and features some information about the Western Ghats. Past the sign, a pretty impressive lion-tailed macaque habitat is in view. A moat separates the macaques from guests and offers a great look into the tropical rainforest environment where lion-tailed macaques are endemic to. 6 macaques are found here, easily seen with their iconic silver manes against the tropical scenery. Either feeding on the ground or climbing high above, this habitat offers quite a lot to see, even if the macaques seem a little hard to see at first. Definitely a little harder to spot than say the Siamang gibbon, so caution is needed when building habitats this size or even larger. Well, that's the first exciting addition to Coldwater Falls Zoo in probably like 2 months. I do apologise for the wait, everyone. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and check out my Discord server for the latest up-to-date information. Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you next time.